Here we are, vid number 4, and I'm going to try something very terrifying. I'm going to try to do some editing. So there will be what we call jump cuts. There'll be no transition. I'll just be over here, and then a split second later I'll be over here, and I think you can handle it. You probably can handle it better than I can trying to do this. I actually did some editing before in my life, way back when I was in Los Angeles doing a film studies program, and I was horrible at it, because it's not just about, you know, doing it so the story makes sense. It's also, there's kind of a timing and a rhythm to it, and unfortunately I'm better at poetry than I am with editing, so this will be awesome. You can see I'm wearing a turtleneck because it's cold and it's my spring break. It's March 19th right now that I'm filming this, and the wind is icy cold. It snowed yesterday. It was 16 degrees this morning. We need to understand why people go to the beach on their spring breaks. It's a shame. I hate the beach. So I'd like to talk about Ezra. He's my romantic lead for Phase, so of course I like him. But he would have been my fantasy. Would have been my perfect guy when I was 17 years old. I mean, he's realistic, but he's a little, you know, dreamy eyes and stuff like that. I have found a person, an actor, to sort of, kind of, you know, him. Obviously the eyes will never match because, you know, their eyes aren't exactly normal. Evan Peters, it has a slight creepy factor, hence the, you know, why he does so well on the show. So if you can take that out and maybe a little skinnier, narrower shoulders, because Ezra is 17 and not, you know, big, manly, and buff. That's more Aiden and Micah. Yeah, here he is. Ezra's like his mom. As far as that family goes, Naomi's like her dad, and Ezra's like his mom. Mom's a little more trusting, a little more open, and Ezra, although being a wolf, is definitely more open than his sister, and definitely more open than his father. The artistic thing comes from his mom. His mom's a painter. I picture her doing a lot of oils. And he works with wood. But I picture him being pretty normal. I mean, there's a scene that never made the actual story, but where the boys are playing video games. Whatever sort of video games boys play these days. I only got as far as Super Nintendo, you know, and that was about it. Everything else seems to have too many buttons. But, you know, so he's just kind of your everyday kid. Okay, Margie, here is your big debut. Can you see yourself? Oh, the tail's going. Okay, so that's my dog, and she's not asleep at the moment. She's been sleeping most of the day. We don't do well living in the same house for the 24 hours I've been staying inside because it's cold. So Ezra and Sophie. Okay. I don't think he ever didn't like Sophie. He knew that she had a crush on him because of the whole pheromones and heart beating and being able to hear that. But he didn't give it much thought. She never did anything that embarrassed him or made him uncomfortable, so he just thought she seemed like a nice girl, and that was it. He truly doesn't think much about specific girls he knows. I'm sure he thinks about girls because he's a teenage boy and, you know, that's what they do. But sort of in a general kind of sense, not a, you know, specific girl I go to school with sort of sense, because he couldn't. You know, he sort of knows that there's no point because of the wolf thing and all that kind of stuff. So he doesn't think much about her. She seems nice enough. She's cute. I think he, you know, notices that. But all of a sudden she's just there all the time because of Jules. And he would respond well to her because she sticks by Jules so much. He would appreciate that. And she's just so loyal, which is something that a wolf would really, really find appealing in a human. And nice and, you know, things like that. And it's like he had no choice. In a good way, not in a Mr. Darcy against my what does he say? Against my better intentions or against my will, I have fallen in love with you. It's not like that. Worst proposal ever. But it is sort of unplanned. But he likes that, you know, and it just, obviously, there's hormones mixed in there, and, you know, he really does recognize that she's a good girl. He's pretty insightful for a teenage boy, which I, you know, think is because of the wolfiness. I can attribute it to that. Same kind of with Jules. He sees her, he knows that she's supposed to be his sister, and he just, like, he can flip that switch in his brain. But, you know, he knows that that's what she needs. I don't know how he knows it. It's just something like, I think it's his mom. I think his mom has a lot of human empathy. Ezra's not the hot one. He's cute. I'd like to make that clear. He's not uber sexy and conventionally hot. He's, you know, he's skinny. He's, you know, cute. Micah's handsome. Aiden's, you know, very brawny masculine, if that's your kind of thing. Nick is goofy. Wears like sweater vest because his mom still dresses him, but he's funny, so that's a, you know, plus in his thing. And then of course Gil is just, you know, adorable. And I wrote him to be adorable. He couldn't help it. He just oozed adorability the moment he popped on the page. That's really all I have about Ezra. You know, you'll see more of him and Sophie's relationship in the third book, and actually in the second book you'll see sort of past him, because Naomi will be thinking about him a lot. They are actually very, very close, which you don't get to see as much of in Phase just because of the nature of the story. So that's all I'm going to do for today. Hopefully I can edit some of this ums and ahs out, and you will not be bored out of your mind. I hope. Okay, so have a great day. Have a good spring break if you're on it, and I will hopefully be in warmer weather sooner than later. Margie doesn't really want to say goodbye. She's chewing on her bone. Peace.